Hey there. Today I am going to talk about a different topic altogether, changing your mindset. Though you would have seen my YouTube video where I've published a video on rewiring your brain, or very similar to that. But here I am going to talk on different aspects, basically challenging your mind, and I call it as mindful living because you do it consciously. You do not do it subconsciously. You are changing your mindset with a conscious effort. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about how you need to think differently. If you want to change your life, if you want to have a different goal altogether and you want to reach that goal, you have to think differently. That's what I'll talk about. I'll talk about changing yourself, change your version which you are today. And if you want to reach a goal, then you have to change your version. You have to become 2.0. To change that, you have to have a positive mind, that which I'll talk about. And to reach that goal, you always will have to set a high standard for yourself. All these things are done, but if you do not dream big, you're not going to do this. So you have to dream big, which I'll talk about. And there are no shortcuts to it. So ethics will come in play. So I'll talk about ethics. When you do these things, you have to be productive, right? So I'll talk about productivity. But you cannot reach your goal until unless you measure yourself where you are going wrong, whether you are on the right path or not. So I'll talk about measuring your life. And apart from all this, we'll also talk about health and diet. Why? Because if health is not there, you'll not be able to achieve the goals, or you'll not be able to set your goals to what you want to be in your life. So that's all I'll talk about in this video. But let me introduce myself to you all. I'm Manish Sinha from manishadda.com. I'm a life coach, a speaker, mentor, a consultant for business growth and startups, a digital marketer, and a working professional. Being a working professional helps me share my experiences with you all. With changing time, your experiences will be different from mine, but my examples, you can correlate with it and you can fine tune it as per your requirements and be a better professional and excel in your life. So that's all an introduction about me. And I'm going to talk straight away, jump into the topics that I have been discussing about, I've just told about. So the first topic that I'm going to talk about is think differently. I'll start with an old story, but before I start this with a story, I like to ask a simple question to you all. And as I normally do in my videos and my training sessions that I conduct, I ask one question. If you are a person who thinks differently, then are you the person who used to break the rules of school? Or are you the person who always says that this is not right, this is the way it should be, the rules are not correct, it should be changed? Have you ever broken rules which are laid down and normally 99.9% people follow those rules? If you've done that, then you have been thinking differently because you have been a challenger who have been challenging the set processes to be a different person, to look things with a different perspective. Things may be wrong, things may be right for you, but it may not be right and wrong for some other person. So what I mean to say here is that things are right and wrong for different people in a different perspective and a different stage of life that you are. What I mean to say is what right and wrong were there for me 5 years down the line may not hold true at this point of juncture. What was right and wrong during my childhoods may not be true at this point in my career. It may be different. So it changes as your platform changes. People may agree, may disagree with you. And once people start disagreeing with your thought processes, believe me, that is the time you are thinking differently from the crowd. So I'll tell you a story of my school days. In our school days, we used to publish a magazine, where students used to contribute their articles. They used to write story or poem or some jokes. And I also used to write stories and submit for selection. Unfortunately, my stories never used to get selected. So I was very frustrated from inside that, oh, my articles never get selected. Then my colleague said that you don't write probably the best articles, that's why it is not getting selected, or your topics are as such that it does not get selected. So what I did was I sold a dream actually. I wrote an article which was completely dream, an absurd story, but that got selected because that story was different. How it was different is I'll let you know. Everybody writes. The rule book is that you have to write an article in English. You will write an article in Hindi. That's it. Or you will write an article in your mother tongue that will get selected and get published. But I broke that rule. I wrote that article in English, a combination of words consisting of English and Hindi. I was different. And you couldn't imagine how happy I was when my article got published in my school magazine. So I had set my goal that I'll get my article published in school, but I'll be different from others. So I thought differently. I decided my goal where I want to be. And I broke the rule, the notion of writing article either in English or in Hindi. But it took me 1 year to get my article selected because the magazine was published annually. So I had to wait for 1 year to get my article published. So it was a long term wait for me. And believe me, in life also, if you set your goals, you cannot set it for short term. It has to be long term. There's another story to it. Probably this video will become too long, but I'll talk about that. During my initial career days, I was a trainee service engineer, joined an organization as a trainee service engineer. And when I joined there and started working within 2 months or 3 months of time, I realized I cannot be part of this crowd. I have to get out of it. Now, to get out of that crowd, I had two options. The first option was to find a new job and go somewhere else. But then I realized that I will not become a service manager within a short span of time if I want to become a service manager. So I set my goal that I want to be a service manager to be out of this crowd. The other option was that I climbed the ladder here itself, but the path was tough. I had to then get myself confirmed in the job. Then I'll become an engineer, 1.5 years to 2 years. Then I'll become the team lead. Then I'll for another 2.5 years. Then I'll become a assistant branch service manager for a year and a half, and then the branch service manager. So in totality, if I say, it comes to 6.5 years. But I didn't want to wait for 6.5 years. I want to shorten that process. So if you want to shorten the process, what you have to do? You have to be different from the crowd to get recognized. So I realized that if I work the way we are working currently, or all of us, all engineers work, I'll remain where I am. I'm not going to progress. And I'll progress if I do something different. What extra I'm going to do so that people recognize me and I climb the ladder faster. So I knew, I found out the gap in the product lines. There's multiple products with multiple features and different setup altogether. I started learning those skills and I started equipping myself on all the product lines. So what happened? I became master in technical knowledge. I was superior than everybody else in the organization. And then people started taking solutions from me for the problems they were not able to resolve. Then the organization thought there is a need for a technical help desk where somebody can guide others, and I became the North Zone technical head. That was my first ladder that I climbed within the organization. But my goal was being the service manager, branch service manager. So, what I did, the moment I became the technical service head, I got exposure to the entire North Zone and I started getting inputs as to what I can improvise in service to customers and started feeding the management about this is what one should do to provide better customer service to customers. Organization realized that my thought processes, my vision of customer service is in line with the organization vision, and I was made the branch service manager for the organization. But it did not happen overnight. It took me 3.5 years to become the branch service manager in the same organization that I was working and the same branch that I was working. So it was long term, not a short term. But believe me, I thought it differently. I worked hard on improving my skill set to be what I wanted to be. So in life also, one has to work hard. There is no shortcut to it. And you have to think differently to be different from the crowd. To be different also, one has to seek the truth. Means you cannot fake it. It has to be realistic, right? So when you do things differently, you always have to seek the truth. People will have different opinions, but you seek the truth and challenge other opinions. There will be opinions in and around you, so you don't get influenced by those opinions. Being different from the crowd also means that people will not agree to your thoughts. So far I've talked a lot about thinking differently. I think you would have understood what thinking differently means all about. The next topic that I'm going to talk about is changing yourself. So, what you are today, if you want to be a CEO of a company, or you want to be a digital marketer, or you want to be an influencer, or you want to be a YouTuber, whatever you want to be in your life, or you want to be a great surgeon, you want to be a great scientist. So, what you are today, and you aspire to be someone, then you need to change yourself. You have to change your version, right? I think to explain it in a better way, who you are right now, you're not capable of becoming what you have dreamt of, right? So if you want to become a scientist, today, what you are is not a person who can become a scientist overnight. You have to think and work on yourself, on your skill set to become a scientist or become a digital marketer, whoever you want to be. To be that person, you need to change. And believe me, change is always difficult. It is hard. It is uncomfortable. Why? Because in the current situation, you are comfortable and you hardly want to change. But if you are not evolving, then you cannot change yourself and you cannot become the version 2.0 of yourself. You need to work every day and work towards what you want to become and strive to grow in whatever career you select or whatever goals you have thought of becoming. Now, why is it difficult to change oneself? It's difficult for us to change because we all love to remain where we are. If I'm in a job, I'm earning a decent salary and the life is going easy, I will like to be in the same position where I am. Though my aspirations will be to take a promotion, but still, since it is comfortable, I like to continue that way. That means I'm holding myself back. So when you hold yourself back, it's difficult to change. You should remember that you should not get attached to your current identity. If you want to be, if you aspire to become someone, you cannot hold to your current identity. And also that since the world around you is changing, is evolving, and you too are evolving. As I said earlier, that what I was 5 years back, I am not the same currently. I have evolved, I have changed. My current identity could be different. If world around you changes, you have also changed, then you cannot hold on to your current identity. And when you change, you become uncomfortable. If you get attached to your current identity, it becomes static. Because as a human being, you're always evolving and you are always growing. People identify you with your identity. So when you change, people around you will actually become comfortable. Why? Because they will start losing the person that they used to identify with. They will try to put you back into yourself because they are not able to accept the change within you, because of the fact that we all as a human being resist change. We want to remain in status quo, whether the change is within them, the people around you, or it is within you. The only people who accept your change or who love you to grow within and make your dreams come true are your parents and your teachers, who usually support these changes or the evolution within you, because they are your mentors and they would always like you to succeed in your life. The people with whom you spend larger time with have difficulty in accepting the change within you. For an example, you have been spending time with your family quite some time actually, and you spend a lot of time with family when you come back from office. But when you start spending less time with your family or the close ones with whom you have been spending a lot of time, one gets to hear that you have changed. It's not because they don't love you, it's just because that they feel that they are losing you or you are drifting away from them, spending less time. Why this happens is where people actually tell you that you have changed is because they have started noticing it late, and people have a predictable behavior. Changing mindset is very important part of becoming successful. If you look at successful people, you will see their mindset with which they approach their work. We as human beings have our brains consisting of conscious mind and subconscious mind. I've talked about this in my previous video of rewiring brain. And the moment we want to change ourselves, the subconscious mind will always pull you back to your old identity and keep reminding you of stability and afraid of change and growth. In other words, it's a form of procrastination. In order to change ourselves, we need to use our conscious mind and keep reminding that we want to change and grow ourselves. Since we all want to have a good life and look forward to happiness, we must always remember that once we start to change ourselves, conflict will always happen between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So, if you have to change yourself, you have to overcome the inhibition driven by subconscious mind, and also about the people near and dear ones or friends, the society, thinking about what they will say about you. In other words, your current one is the biggest enemy. So, what you are today is your biggest enemy. Do not be afraid of what people will say about you. Remember, when you do things which you are not as per your character earlier, people will criticize you. They do not actually criticize you, but they criticize your new identity. which is difficult for them to accept. For growth, you need to be in company of people who are better than you and have grown themselves bigger in stature. If you have company with people who are of same profile or same knowledge, you do not gain or learn anything to grow yourself. You will remain where you are. When you try changing, believe me, it's a real fact. There are things which are beyond your control. Now, you can't change things which are not in your control, which are beyond your control. You can change only things which are within your control. The next topic that I'm going to talk about is positive frame of mind, having a positive state of mind. Now, you need to be in a positive frame of mind. You need to be with people who have positive frame of mind. You cannot be friends with people who are always nagging at you, who are always probably bombarding you with negative thoughts. You are to be with people who have grown in stature and you want to emulate them. So you have to have choose a role model where you can actually copy them out to be in a positive frame of mind. So what you need to do is you need to write down your ideal self and you need to work towards reaching your goal, that goal. A lot of thoughts will come across your mind. One common thing is people say is money does not bring happiness and money is the root cause of all problems. I do agree that money is the root cause of all problems, but I do not agree with the concept of money does not bring happiness. Remember, money will not solve all your problems, but it will definitely solve your money problems. It will reduce your stress. The mindset that money is a good thing to have, please do have that mindset. Once you have become a person that deserves money and success will come to you. Do not chase money, but chase the dream of how you can create value for the world. That's the positive frame of mind. One example that I would like to give is there are two types of trees, one which grows freely and the other is bonsai. If I ask you a question actually, does a free flowing tree needs more effort to grow or a bonsai takes more effort to grow? Definitely bonsai. Because a normal tree grows freely without any care, but to grow a bonsai tree, you need to take a lot of care and effort to keep it dwarf. If you're frustrated or depressed and angry, you will never be in a positive state of mind. It requires discipline and focus on work, not to be swayed by the happenings of your surroundings. Will keep you in positive frame of mind. Things can happen in and around you, but they are not in your control. It cannot be controlled by you. It is important how you react to those situations, and your reaction is in your control. Nobody else is going to control your reaction. It is you who is going to control, will make you a positive frame of mind. If you are in a particular state of mind, you will attract similar vibes. So if you are in a positive state of mind, you will attract positive vibes. Keep yourself in a positive state of mind. There are many emotional states which you go through. Berkeley News, as per scientists, there are 27 states of minds. I'll not list all of them. I'm listing few of them over here. You can go through them on my slide. It is admiration, adoration, aesthetic appearance, amusement, anger, anxiety, awe, awkwardness, boredom, calmness, confusion, carving, disgust, empathic, pain, entrancement, excitement, fear, horror, interest, joy, nostalgia, relief, romance, sadness, satisfaction, surprise. So these are the uh, emotional states. So, if you want to be in a positive frame of mind, what you need to do to be in a positive frame of mind? You can take a walk, you can listen to a music, you can watch a good movie, you can read good books, you can learn something new, you can meditate, you can call an old friend, write a personal journal, play with your kids or dogs or your pets. These are the steps which brings down your emotional stress and is very important to bring you back into your positive frame of mind. Your positive frame of mind also depends by understanding your personality. Now, understanding your personality is very important. There are different methods to find out people's strengths, personalities, and weaknesses. The best framework is MBIT of Myers and Briggs personality test. It talks about extroversion, talks about introversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judgment, and perception. There are total 16 different types of personalities, and I'm listing them over here. Now, the MBIT was constructed by two Americans, Catherine Cook and Briggs, and her daughter Isabel Briggs Mears, who inspired, who were actually inspired by the book Psychological Types by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. It is an introspective self report questionnaire indicating differing psychological preferences in how people perceive the world and make decisions. Despite its popularity, it has been widely regarded as pseudoscience by the scientist community. The test attempts to assign a value to each of four categories: introversion or extroversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, and judging or perceiving. One letter from each category is taken to produce a four-letter test result, such as INTP, ESFJ, and others. Coming back to the next topic is setting high standards. Now, it is very important for a person to set high standards for themselves. Do not let anybody, do not let anybody tell you that you are not enough to succeed. Maybe your 1.0 version is not enough, but definitely your 2.0 version is going to help you to succeed what you want to be. Do not get bothered by others telling you that these targets that you have taken, the goals that you have taken, are difficult to achieve. Believe me, you are not the same person when you become your 2.0 version, probably 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line, whatever goals you set for yourself. Like I had set my goal of becoming the branch service manager in my earlier career days, and I had set a goal that I'll take another 4 years to become that, and it happened within 3.5 years of time frame. If you have set your goals or high standard for yourself, you cannot use substandard products. So when you put high standard for yourself, you start working towards it. The moment you start using low products, your thought starts revolving around the same, and you start believing that the product serves the same purpose. So what's the fun in using a similar high value product? It's a human psychology. As we normally say, that this product costs 10 rupees and that product costs 100 rupees, but they serve the same purpose. But what happens when you use the 100 rupees product is your class apart. To buy that product of 100 rupees, you have to strive for that. So using high value products will help you in setting high standards for yourself. But believe me, do not cut corners. If you do that, your thought process also starts around it. And when you look at other, you will think others too have done it by cutting corners. Set yourself high standards, and that is going to take you miles away. The next point is dreaming big for yourself as well as setting the goals. So, what you dream is what you will achieve. A very simple line, a statement, but very strong statement that what you dream is what you achieve. It goes without saying. That's the reason it's always said that if you want to dream, dream big. For example, if you want to earn 25 lakhs a month or probably 25 lakhs a year, your approach would be towards skilling yourself to earn 25 lakh rupees per annum and not 1 crore. You're not going to earn 1 crore. But if you set your target to 1 crore, your efforts would be towards achieving that 1 crore, earning that 1 crore per annum. Your efforts will be like that. That's what I said, that what you dream is what you achieve. You're not going to achieve anything more than what you have dreamt of. As in my previous conversation, I have said that I wanted to be a branch service manager. I didn't become the regional service manager because I had only dreamt of becoming a branch service manager, and that's how I worked towards becoming a branch service manager. Would I have dreamt of becoming a regional service manager? I would have dreamt of becoming, I would have worked and strived towards becoming a regional service manager. That's how dreams drive you to become what you want to be. When you dream big, you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable position because you are afraid of failures, you will be afraid of disappointments. At the same time, when you become uncomfortable, it will make you work harder to achieve your dreams because you hate failures, you do not want to become unsuccessful, you do not want to become disappointed. So you start working harder and harder to achieve your goals. It has been seen that if you dream of achieving big in your life, you will find ways and there will be means where the universe will also support you of achieving your goals. But if you're not looking for something big, you will not see the opportunity, even if it is lying in front of you. Without dreaming big, you cannot become bigger and you cannot achieve your goals, what you want to be. The next topic that I'm going to talk about is about the art of productivity, how to become more productive. Now, to become productive, you have to always remain in a positive frame of mind. You have to ensure that you do not get distracted by your surroundings, what's happening in and around. So you have to avoid all those distractions. You have to be away from social media. Means I do not say you cut yourself out from social media, but the amount of time that you spend on social media has to be restricted. Means you cannot just wake up in the morning and you look at your phone and say, look at how many emails or how many messages have dropped in your box or in your WhatsApp group or on your Instagram or on your Twitter account or on your Facebook. No, cut the time, put a time frame that you will watch or you will be on a social media for so many number of minutes, so many number of hours, not endless. That is very important because these things do distract you from achieving your goals. And not only goals, but they actually stop you from being productive. If you do not become productive, the goals become difficult for you to achieve. It becomes too far to achieve. You have to wake up early, start working, read books without getting distracted by social medias. We are people who are generally reactive. Now, to become productive, you have to be proactive instead of being reactive. Whenever something comes to your mind, do not keep it in your mind. Add it to your to-do list and then process the task when you get a chunk of time to do small tasks. Very, very important part. If we keep in mind, at a later time, we will forget what the thoughts had come to our mind. I practice this. I keep a notebook in my pocket, and whatever comes to my mind, I write it down. That goes into my to-do list because I have experienced many a times that I've kept things in my mind, the thought processes which had come to my mind, I'd kept in my mind at a later time. I have forgotten that, and I've struggled to get back to what thoughts had come to my mind. Mark out days. You have to schedule your days because if you do not schedule, it will get hijacked by others. So you have to mark out days where you will be focused on learning. You will be you have to mark days for creating content. You have to mark days for doing miscellaneous tasks in your business. You have to clean cut, change channels, but do not do multitask. Because if you do multitask, your productivity decreases. You will not be able to complete your task within the given time slots that you have actually charted for that particular task. And it is also harmful to your brain. The next topic that I am going to talk about is measuring everything. So, whatever you do, you need to measure it. You have to be analytical, you have to be measure your finances. It could be, means I'd not say it could be, but you have to measure both your personal finances and business finances. If you do not measure, you cannot improve it. Measure your daily routine. Have a daily activity checklist. Tick all the checks, the work you have done. You have to measure your time where it goes. By this, I mean to say that you have to measure how you are using your time, whether it's useful or it's just waste of time. Invest in smart scales, smart watches. They throw a lot of data about you. Understand those data, what it means. It will measure your health levels. You will be able to control your health levels. You need to measure your vitamins, your cholesterol, and also sugar, which is normally called as HbA1c. If you are a person who deals in e-commerce or a person who is doing a digital marketing activity, then you need to measure the traffic cost. You need to measure the cost per lead. You need to measure cost per sale. You need to measure lifetime of a customer. It's very important to measure those parameters. If you do not measure, you will not come to the right conclusion as where you have to take action. The next point that I'm going to talk about is your health. All these things are well said and done that this you can do, that you can do, this is how you should do it. But the fact is, if your health does not permit you, you cannot reach your goals. Maintain your health. You need to work out, and working out puts you in positive state of mind. There has to be a 30-minute extensive active workout every day. There's a saying that you are what you eat. So be careful what you're eating. Do not go for instant gratification. Eat things that are healthy and whole foods. And I would suggest, no, it's not a hard and fast rule, but you should cut down on the intake of non-vegetarians, non-veg, basically. And if you can eliminate it, nothing better than that. I'm a non-vegetarian, but over a period of time, I've evolved and curtailed on it. I do have it sometimes, but not on a regular basis, occasionally, and I'm on the process of eliminating it completely. Do not use white sugar, means you can use it, but if you can reduce it, it's good for your health. No bad feelings about packaged foods, but definitely one should avoid packaged foods. And to be in a good mental health, one should meditate. Now, you will say, when I meditate, my mind, a lot of thoughts come into mind and it gets digressed. I'm not able to concentrate what I want to do. That's the wrong way of meditation. Make your mind blank. Do it for 1 minute. Start with 15 seconds, increase it to 30 seconds, then to 45, then to 1 minute. The moment you reach 1 minute, 1 minute, do it 10 times. So, what you're doing is you are multiplying your meditation time. You have meditated for 10 minutes, increase it to 20 to 30. I think 30 minutes are sufficient enough for meditation. I believe if you make brief notes about key points that you need to do in your life, is you are an old machine and you want to take off, so you have to change yourself from your 1.0 version to 2.0 version. Do not get affected by surroundings. This is not a game, believe me, and take your life seriously. Take charge of your character, play it well, and stop blaming others. Small improvements every day will compound over a period of time. There is nothing called overnight success. If you take action, there will be a reaction. Take massive action. The more action you take, the more you will move forward. So, stop thinking, start acting. That's the motto, and that's what the tagline of my presentation says. So, wait for my next video. See you then. Goodbye.